Welcome back folks, more and more mods are coming out for Stalker 2 that I've been testing over the past few weeks, where you can start shaping your own gameplay experience. Now in this video I wanted to go through a few starting mods just so you can sort of check it out and see what it's all about, and I'm also going to go through a mod browser for ease of use. But I'm working on a much bigger mod list that will require Nexus and well manual downloads, but that's a story for another day. As always, use the mods you feel like because that's what makes modding fun in the first place. Before you start, please back up your saves. Error handling has been improved in some of the newer patches, but you never want to lose your hard-earned save, because you never know what can happen. You can find your saves by typing app data in search, going one folder back into local, then under Stalker 2 you will see saved folder, just copy it and you will be safe to experiment. First mod on the list is one of my favorites, and that's Better Ballistics Redux, which changes how ammunition works based on its damage and penetration. Currently Stalker 2 operates on sort of a weapon tier list and it's not that realistic, but keep in mind this will also make the game a bit harder because, well, as much damage as you can do, enemies can do the same. But that's just one feature of this mod, let's go through all of it. As I already said, besides ammo changes, this mod also changes weapon handling, accuracy, fire modes and magazine size, which will play a role if you're using those weapons. It also makes projectile trajectory more realistic, including damage fall off based on the length of the hit, which goes up to 2 kilometers. They went so much into detail that even barrel length will play a role in how bullets behave. Besides that, canted aim and hold breath are available now for most weapons. As far as armor goes, protection has been increased from 5.0 to 6.5 strike to allow the usage of artifacts alongside expensive armor upgrades in the endgame section. Also, as I mentioned, your enemies now have the same features, so you will notice that standing in the middle of the field while enemies shoot at you won't be a viable solution, especially early on with lower tier armor, where you will be instantly shot down, so you have to approach the situation in a smarter way, so you always have some cover. They also toned down excessive range enemy NPC has, meaning that, well, they won't shotgun you across the map easily as before, but well, due to Stalker 2 being Stalker 2, it tends to happen from time to time, you just cannot escape it. But the overall Stalker experience will play a role, where low tier NPCs will have worse aim and will behave more erratically as an experienced person would, but veteran Stalkers are much deadlier with better aim, positioning and combat experience. This mod also makes mutants deadlier by dealing more damage and will have better AI behavior, so be careful when you engage one. Health system is also redesigned, meaning that when you use a stim, health will go up much slower than before, and bleeding won't stop instantly when you use bandages. Also, food and water no longer provides healing, so don't stack them thinking they will help. Weight-based movement system is redefined, meaning that on the start of the game, you will go from 20 kilograms and move to 75 kilograms by the end of the game, meaning you will be much slower and you will be turning slower if you're hauling a lot of gear. This influences economy in a few ways because it's more based on you collecting mutant loot and doing side quests rather than, well, picking every weapon you see and selling it. It also decreases overall weapon condition of the weapon Stalker use, but will also make things a bit more realistic, where you won't be finding the best weapons early on, but they will gradually increase as you traverse into more dangerous parts of the zone. And you don't have to worry about the refresh time for quests, like, with the bartenders and everything, because it has been lowered from 72 hours to only 18 hours, so, it balances out economy and ways of making money. I really like this experience as it's closer to what I like in my own playthrough, so I highly recommend this mod, but again, keep in mind that if you're fighting enemies, they will be, as I said, a lot deadlier than they are in the vanilla game. Next up we have Shay's realistic death animations mod, being that from time to time I really didn't like how NPCs just wobble around after downing them and kinda fall through objects, but rather having a more realistic animation makes things a bit more immersive. Shay also redid physics of those bodies, which includes full collision on ragdoll, and that's a big plus for me, which you can actually see as I'm playing the game, because once you down them, it kinda makes more sense the way they fall down, and also depending where you hit them and with what caliber, at least that's how I felt. To complement the mod, I also recommend adding impact that shows how impact of bullet works on bodies, with new particles just to paint that picture of a bleak zone we got used to. I mean, there are also optional files for blood spats and blood trails, so you can add those on top of it if you want. It's pretty much a subjective thing on what you want and how you want your game to feel in that sense, but I really recommend this one. Next on the list we have the enhanced Combat VFX, another mod I recommend as it makes firefights more brutal and very immersive during nights, especially if you're using night vision as well. It adds muzzle flash to firearms and they are different for each weapon type, so you get to see faster flashes of light and closer what it would sort of look like IRL, of course, you know, sort of. But because it illuminates you when you shoot, you have to be careful because enemies can then see your position, so that's kinda nice. Alongside that, weapons now produce smoke, meaning that as you fire, you will see how more prominent it is, as it wasn't really the case before in the vanilla game. And also by the tracer rounds, you will see the difference between the Warsaw Pact calibers, which are green, and the NATO ones, which are red. Now, are you tired of flashlight strength in the vanilla game? Well, so am I, but with Ace's real flashlight, things start looking better because you can actually see what is going on in front of you now. Again, it's not increasing brightness to the point where it becomes unrealistic, but seeing things and hovering over different objects in the open world is much better and provides better clarity, which is honestly very needed. There are many flashlight mods, but for me personally, I noticed that this specific one works the best, at least for my own taste. Another feature I enjoyed in previous Stalker games is the occasional trading you will do with other Stalkers you come across. Sadly, Stalker 2 nerfed that a lot, but with Shay's NPC Interactions, you can now trade with most NPCs you encounter. They will also carry different stuff, providing, more variety where you can find something that might be, useful for you until you reach a safe spot or a hub to trade. Big plus for this, it's one of my favorite mods for the game. For all of you tactical fans, there is also Weapons Reposition project that changes how Skiff holds weapons. It will be held much lower during hipfire or just walking around, including aiming down sights, and providing better visibility on all weapons with more sway adders you can see as I'm moving around, just for that immersive feeling people enjoy. But for me, having better visibility is fantastic because, well, in the vanilla weapons FOV tends to be a lot closer to, the body, and yes, it's somewhat more realistic the way you would hold a gun, but I just, don't like it that much, and I always choose to integrate this mod into my playthroughs just because you can see with each weapon I have a lot more visibility and sort of like it makes things a little bit cooler in that sense. Vaulting in Stalker 2 has been somewhat random. It's not really as responsive as I want, but you can see with better vaulting mod that it won't be the case anymore, as now you can get over obstacles a lot faster, including fences, walls, even climbing stuff like vehicles or just crates when you are attacked by mutants, so you can protect yourself. I enjoy this one a lot as it's a very nice quality of life change compared to the vanilla experience. Next mod is sort of optional depending on your preferences, but what it does is that now every mutant you down, you will be able to loot it. In vanilla game, it's not really the case. To be honest, I feel like the chance is sometimes too low, but if you're gonna be changing how economy works, then you might as well supplement it with this so it's, more viable. It also feels like going on Mutant Hunt will now not provide just a few credits, when you count the cost of repairs, ammo, food and stims. And actually I love hunting mutants in Stalker 2 or just Stalker games in general, so just having an ability to make some proper credits now is much more enjoyable. For the end, I have been playing around with visuals a bit, testing different ones, and one combo that caught my eye is Dead Zone and Clear Sky colors that makes things really bleak if you're into that. Well, it's just better for the immersion overall. This mod introduces more dry flora, dry bushes and trees in locations, sort of making things closer to Shadow of Chernobyl in some way. It's more desaturated, and if you look at the blues and reds for example, they are toned down a lot to allow for dark orange hues to pop out. Now Cotton, creator of the mod, also recommends using Clear Sky color palette which complements Dead Zone, adding more realistic light and much darker atmosphere compared to the vanilla game. I've been testing this for about about 2-3 days now, and I've been very much impressed with both outside and how inside looks, giving a much bleaker look into the zone, and of course it wouldn't be clear sky without, well, clear skies. This is also not a reshade, so you don't have to worry about an impact on your frames. Again, visual taste is personal, and you can find many other recolors that might suit your style better, so it's open to experimentation. Just make sure you don't stack visual mods on top of each other, as they will not provide the intended look and might even conflict with each other. So with few of these mods, you can drastically change your Stalker 2 experience. I also tested this on the latest patch and it works well. I haven't had a crash yet, and also before you mix and match more mods, make sure you always go through compatibility, as mods that, do similar things don't really work well with one another. That's why for beginners, you can go through the mod browser, because if you do something, it will tell you if you have a few mods which are, colliding with each other. But of course, if you are an experienced modder, there is also Nexus, and of course I will provide those links as well in the description. This is just a taste of a much bigger mod list I am preparing with amazing new mods that have been popping up lately, so pick and choose the ones which you want. There are also mods that reduce weight of items if you feel like vanilla is a bit too hardcore on that. I personally either go with either -25%, but for your own playthrough, well, choose whatever you want. Also, please, if you like these mods, consider donating and liking them to show support to modders, as in the future they will shape how you will play in case you will be, using mod packs or just mod in general. I also get a lot of questions about Anomaly. When is that coming out? You see, something like Anomaly, or especially Gamma, which is sort of the mainstream one, is a combination of years and years of different mods, fine-tuning them, releasing them throughout those years. So don't expect these things to happen overnight, because they won't. Itemization has been slowly arriving into Stalker 2, but that's a story for another video, as those mods require a bit more work in installation, so stay tuned for it. As Stalker 2 is still being patched, keep in mind that once that happens, most mods will be broken, so make sure to remove them, either through the mod browser or manually, but game is pretty good with it because it disables them in the first few days, so you should be fine. But again, make sure you always back up your saves before modding. It's a must in every single game you mod, regardless of if it's Stalker 2 or anything else. Now, if you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing for more. Check us out on Twitter and Discord. Huge thanks to my current Patreon supporters, and I will see you very soon with a new video. Bye bye.